Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Reborn Football Podcast. I'm Tans, and I'm here with,
Fuego.
and as usual, we're gonna dive right into our verses slash message of the episode as pertaining to the Bible and our faith. So today we're just gonna continue on from the message that we started in our last episode, which was talking about the types of love that you should show as a Christian towards other people in your different relationships. So we're gonna deal with the third type of love that we mentioned, which is eros or romantic love. So I'll let Fuego take it away with that one.
Yeah, so as Tans just said there, eros is the Greek word for what we would call romantic love. Um, it's not mentioned explicitly in the Bible, the word eros, but we do see many different places in the Bible where physical romantic love between man and woman who are married. Um, and basically that's the Christian construct of eros love, which is a man and a woman get married, and then obviously there is romance, basically, if you want to call it that. But the verse that we're going to use to talk about this is Ephesians 5, verse 21. Now, in Ephesians 5, there are many different kind of things that are said about how husbands and wives are supposed to behave, how they're supposed to, treat one another. But Ephesians 5 verse 21 says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So I think that verse kind of just hits the nail on the head in terms of how our relationships in terms of man to woman in the romantic sense should kind of be um, built on. So the foundation is Christ. So it says to submit to one another in reverence. Sorry, let me just get up again. Out of reverence for Christ. Basically, I love God, which means I'm going to treat my wife with respect. I'm going to honor her. I'm not going to do anything that would disrespect her, dishonor her, make her not feel, the way that she should. Likewise, a wife should also, revere, respect, honor, show love to her husband out of love for Christ. So all of these kind of meanings of love all stem from our love for Christ, which goes into um, the fourth Greek meaning of love, which is agape love, and I'll let Tans kind of take that there.
Yeah. So agape love is, for lack of the correct explicit definition, let's just call it godly love.
Yeah.
So the verses that we're gonna use to describe godly love is First Corinthians 13 verses 4 to 7. So I mean, if you're deep enough into your Bible, into the faith, you'd have heard these before. But you always hear people say that in your relationships, that if these don't describe the person that you have a relationship with, not just like romantic, any type of relationship, then you should be reevaluating. So this is the verse. This is: love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Then at the start of verse 8, it also goes on to say that love never fails. And people always forget, like, the most important part of that is that godly love, like love that is under God, that follows all those things that we just read there, will never fail. Because people say, oh, love failed, but there must have been something. That means one of these things wasn't happening within the love within your relationship. And even scaling back a bit now, talking on the grand scheme, these verses for the godly love agape are what we're supposed to input into the other three definitions of love. So within your romantic relationship, does your partner show all these aspects of love? Within your brotherly relationships, within your family relationships, are you showing these aspects of love towards the people that you're around, no matter what type of relationship it is? So I think agape kind of like sums topic up perfectly in the sense that, even going back to when Fuego was talking about submitting yourselves to one another out of reverence for Christ. That's basically what this is. Are you patient with one another? Are you kind? Are you being envious of one another? Are you boasting all the time? Like, it's that's basically it. Submit to each other in that type of way, but in a Christ-like loving way. Even going back to, I don't have the particular verse for this, but there's a verse that says, I think, faith, hope, and love are like, three commandments, but love is the greatest commandment of all. Love, if you love, if you show love, first of all, show love to God, and then show love to other people, love your neighbor as yourself, then it will pour out in all your other behaviors. So even let's scaling back once again, patience, kindness, all these things, agape, that's how I would describe godly love, agape.
Yeah, and one very important thing to add for all four is that in terms of your relationships with other people, so obviously the first three in particular talked about obviously relationship with brothers, relationship with family, relationship with a significant other, that if God is not involved in those relationships, there is no way that the love is going to last. It's like where the verse said, love never fails. Obviously, as Tan said, God's love never fails. God is faithful to us even when we are unfaithful. But the main point that I'm trying to get across there is that if God is part of your situation and God is part of that relationship that you have, that of course things will happen between brothers. They'll fight, they'll disagree, but they make up because love is kind, love is patient, love is all these things that God is to us.
Keeps no record of wrongs.
Exactly. So as long as God is in the situation, you have no reason to kind of worry about how your relationship is going to pan out. But again, very important that God is there, and that agape love will show through if God is in that situation.
Even going as far to say that, agape is kind of like, if you kind of think about it, agape is kind of like, it's the first thing, it's the first love. Like, can you really have any of the other loves without first having agape? You know what I'm saying? Like, you need agape to succeed, like to succeed in your brotherly and sisterly relationships, to succeed in your family relationships, to succeed in a relationship with a significant other. Without God, it won't succeed, as you just said. So agape is kind of like, it's the priority.
Yeah.
Godly love, be strong in your relationship with God. And then I feel like it will pour out positively when you try to show the other forms of love towards your various relationships.
Yeah. I think we'll head into the football portion. Very, when I say very interesting enough weekend in terms of FA Cup. We have the quarterfinals there over Saturday and Sunday. Today is the 18th of March. Yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. Not major. Anyway, didn't do anything. But in terms of Saturday, we had Wolves play Coventry and City play Newcastle. The Wolves Coventry match ended
3-2.
3-2 to Coventry City. So that's Wolves knocked out of the FA Cup. City Newcastle. Don't know why it's taking me so long to remember what the score of that match was, but and I watched it, which is kind of weird. But
2-0, no?
2-0 City. Yes, okay, it's all coming back to me. 2 Bernardo Silva goals in the first half, 13 and 31 minutes. Two, I wouldn't say 2 very significant deflections. The first one wasn't a significant enough one, but the second one was really, I felt bad for Dubravka for the second one, because if it had not come off of, I think it's Sven Botman both times, if it had not come off of him the second time, I think he would have saved it. But yeah, no, there's nothing massive to write home about on that one. City managed the game quite well. I think Newcastle never really got into it, but there was that. I think Sunday was the more entertaining day.
Yeah,
So,
shout out to Coventry though. I mean, that's huge. Championship team getting to the semi-finals of the FA Cup. I mean, that would be a really good day out for their fans. But yeah, coming back to Sunday, like, I mean, what a day of football that was.
Definitely. Nah, it was very, very. I don't support any of the teams that played on Sunday, but both matches were actually would have been emotional roller coasters for both sets of fans in those situations, and it was great for a neutral fan watching both matches. So,
Especially that United and Liverpool game. That was a stunning game. The winner from Amad Diallo at the end. He's what's it called? Took off his shirt, got a second yellow, got sent off straight
yeah,
after.
I didn't even see his first yellow. I didn't know he was on yellow.
I didn't even know he was on a second yellow. I just seen him going off the pitch after the goal. I mean, I put
Yeah.
two and two together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what a game. United really had I won't lie. United outplayed Liverpool for large sections of the game. Like I watched the game. United were better for the first like 30, 35 minutes,
Yeah.
but then Liverpool started like going into it, and then Liverpool got their two goals before halftime. I won't lie, like I was like, this might not be looking too good for United. But then, United managed to. I won't lie, Liverpool had the better of the second half in normal time, but then towards the end, obviously United got their equalizer, and then I won't lie, United were all over Liverpool in extra time.
In extra time, yeah.
Yeah, they deserved their winner. I'm pretty sure what's it called? Liverpool even going up in extra time was against the run of play. Like, yeah, United well deserved win. That would be a really good, morale boost for the players. And I mean Liverpool should be disappointed slight. Like that was poor. Like they had a lot of their big hitters out there.
Yeah, compared to like other days out, like in terms of like even Carabao Cup final,
Yeah.
they didn't have like Salah didn't play most of that match.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Nunes didn't play the Carabao Cup final either. Trent is still out. Alisson's still out. Liverpool have dealt a lot of injuries, but they had a more than strong enough 11 to win on yesterday, and yeah, they just weren't able to pull through.
I think Kelleher played quite well in the first half because I remember there was a good few saves they had to make, good chances that obviously United made because like United were all over them, and I think they scored within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But Kelleher actually, like, obviously I don't watch Liverpool that much at this stage of the season, but he's been putting in some like it's not a some second goalkeeper kind of performances. Obviously, we see with a few of the other teams who have lost their goalkeepers. Like Dubravka is actually holding his own, to be fair, for Newcastle, but we can see Newcastle's dip in form. It's not just the goalkeeper being out that's their issue. But Liverpool haven't necessarily seemed as though they're suffering because Alisson is gone.
I won't lie. Watching a bit of Liverpool's games, Liverpool been getting a bit. I don't want to say lucky because I don't want to say that they don't deserve to be title contenders. No, they very much do deserve to be title contenders. Their attack is top quality, but I'm looking at them defensively, and I feel like defensively, they get lucky. Like they concede loads of chances. Even if just give me a second there, but even if you even if you go through the the underlying stats in the Premier League, if you look at the title race, Liverpool are a good distance behind Arsenal and City when you look at the underlying stats. I'm gonna get it out now. So in terms of expected goals against, expected goals conceded, Arsenal only have 19.7. This is from the FOTMob app. Arsenal only have 19.7. Manchester City only have 27.8. And Liverpool have 34.8 XG conceded, and they've only conceded 26 goals, which means they're overperforming their XG by 8 goals. Of course, that happens when you have a keeper like Alisson, a defender like Van Dijk.
Yeah.
But like Alisson's been gone now, and you still feel like they're getting lucky. I feel like this. If anything is going to stop Liverpool from winning the league, it might just be these defensive numbers catching up to them.
Because like they're even kind of improvising in terms of Joe Gomez playing at right back. Kwanzaa has had to play alongside Van Dijk for a few matches in terms of maybe Konate having some sort of knock or whatever. Konate is not out long term, but even without like Trent isn't the best right back defensively in any regard. So if anything, Joe Gomez playing at right back should be some sort of plus for them, in my opinion anyway. Obviously, Andy Robertson kind of either not getting into the squad or not being 100% fit, but not injured either. Liverpool's defense isn't massively different to what it has been at its quote-unquote strongest. So it might be more of an underlying issue in terms of what is it that they're not getting right. Because I would say it's a similar situation with City where City concede a lot of chances. So it's, well, maybe not they don't concede a lot of chances, but when they concede chances, they concede
They are very
very,
good chances.
like,
Yeah,
it's high XG
yeah,
chances as well.
yeah.
So it's a thing of, okay, Liverpool, you're playing against Liverpool, chances are gonna come. It's just a thing of, can we take our chances?
That's the thing with Liverpool, and even looking at the title race now, like I feel like Liverpool have the easiest running, but I still feel like they could drop points here and there because their what's it called their solidity at the back just doesn't convince me. Even when Allison and Van Dijk are there, like Allison and Van Dijk are kind of like we've talked about before. Those guys like world class players that you can just depend on. But like for example, the when we played them at the Emirates, Allison and Van Dijk ironically made the mistake for Martinelli's goal that put us in the lead. So it's like if those guys don't perform to their usual standards, which I doubt, because especially Van Dijk has been outstanding this season, probably will make the team of the year. Allison as well, but if these guys don't perform to their usual levels in the running, that could be where it goes wrong for Liverpool. They also have Europa League as well, Thursday to Sunday, so that's something to mind for them as well.
Yeah. But to be fair, in terms of the team is experienced,
Yeah, yeah,
so that's something that is gonna stand to them in this running in particular because they are still in Europe. Obviously now out of the FA Cup, but they are still in Europe and they still got the Premier League, and obviously they've already won the Carabao Cup. Um, One thing I was going to say before we leave the United Liverpool match, because we still need to talk about Chelsea Leicester. First goal of the season for Anthony,
yeah, bro.
and in a very important game as well.
Fair enough, man. Like you actually, I mean, he's had a tough season. With problems both on and off the pitch, but I mean, can only congratulate him. Like that, it was a good finish as well with his right foot that we did not know he had.
Exactly.
So
Hopefully it boosts his confidence and he gets back into it, because it's kind of, as much as he's a United winger and I don't really care too much for United, it's kind of it gets frustrating at a point seeing somebody is a good player. Now, obviously, there's debates about, is Anthony really an effective player? Is he just a flashy player? But there's no doubt that he's a good player. So it gets frustrating seeing a good player working so hard, playing games and not getting anything from it. So hopefully he does go on and finish the season out strong. I think it's very funny, the whole Amad Diallo second yellow card thing, because I was thinking to myself, I was saying to my brother there yesterday, that the funniest thing is, because the FA Cup is a domestic competition, he's just banned for the next Premier League game. And he's not going to play anyway.
Yeah, so like that's even kind of like, say it actually carried over to the FA Cup semi-final, then like, after all the adrenaline drops, like he'd be feeling bad. But
yeah,
like,
he's still not going to care.
Yes, like, I mean, like comparing the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley to like some random, I don't know, I think they're playing Brentford at home or something like.
But even the other thing that I was going to say is that it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of the Premier League matches after that, and the actual FA Cup semi-final, in terms of whether or not Ten Hag will put him in his squad, because I'm sure Ten Hag would have been on cloud nine as well when he scored the winner and all of that. But Ten Hag seems like this very strict person that would be like, well, you knew you're on a yellow card, so you knew you were going to get sent off by doing that celebration. You're now not available for the next match. I'm going to punish you by not putting you in the squad again until you prove to me that you deserve to be in the squad or something like that. He seems like somebody who could possibly do that.
He could, but I think he'll let him land. Like that was a moment. Like, did you see that video of the young United fan crying his eyes out?
Yeah.
Bro, like like that's what we love about football. Like it just brings out all the emotions. But coming back to the Chelsea game, that was a funny game, man. That
was so interesting.
That Disasi own goal was that Disasi own goal was hilarious, man.
Now,
how did he even pull that off?
To be fair, I'd say obviously there's the aspect of he didn't look up to see where his goalkeeper was, and he was under pressure. I think when whatever channel I was watching it on, when they came back into the studio at the end of the match, they were talking about the keeper should maybe have been 10 yards behind where he was. So I was like, in theory, if the keeper was 10 yards further back, he would have got the ball because he didn't play it like realistically. He's not trying to play the ball out. He's not trying to put it out for a corner. He's trying to put it back into the box so that the keeper can collect. So he put
Hospital pass though. Like let's not
Okay.
let's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a hospital pass.
Nah,
but,
fair enough.
But I do get what you're saying. Like even watching it, like Sanchez's positioning was definitely like a good bit off. Like he could have done a lot better there. I know, like keepers nowadays trying to be really aggressive. David Raya is actually one for that, but he's really aggressive to kind of make up for the fact that he's not that tall, for a goalkeeper. But coming back to Sanchez, yeah, like just trying to be aggressive, and in the end, I mean, to be fair, like on the flip side, you're not expecting your centre back to put it into the bottom corner from 50 yards out.
Exactly.
So it's I'd say it's about I'd still say it's about 60-40 the Sassi's fault because like now like what's he doing?
It's quite bad. It's quite bad.
Yeah.
But that Leicester's second goal.
Oh, what a goal!
Very, very well taken.
Hayland as well, man. Oh, what a goal, man, bro! Just what a beautiful finish. And honestly, I think Chelsea can count themselves lucky for that red card because Leicester were ascending in that game, bro. I think Leicester might have won that game.
I still thought that they could pull something.
Even when they went 10, but then, Chelsea just showed that they're, I mean, they were a man up. But like, even the fact that Leicester are a championship team in theory, in reality, they have absolutely no business in the championship. They will be back next year.
Yeah.
So, but even what's it called? Carney for Chelsea as well made a really good impact when he came on, scored the winner, and I won't lie, what's it called? Cole Palmer. I mean, what a season he's having. Like, you think that's is that not? I think that's 16 goals, 11 assists. Not completely sure, but he's doing really well for Chelsea.
Return on investment quite quickly as well.
Do you guys have a buyback clause on him?
I don't think so. I don't. If he's playing that well at Chelsea, I don't think he's gonna want to go back anyway.
I think you could have used him, Sly. I mean, in fact, hindsight's always 2020, but I feel like in this particular situation you guys are in, you could have used him because now that I'm really thinking about it, you have Doku, Grealish, but where are your other wingers? Foden, yeah, Foden can play really well on the wing, but a lot of the time you get the sense of Foden that it's not his best position.
I don't know. I think Foden is just if you put him somewhere, he's just gonna do
something,
do what he's asked to do, basically. But in terms of out and out wingers, the only two wingers they've got are, as you said, Doku and Grealish. Bernardo kind of subs in as a makeshift right winger.
He's a highly valuable player, man. Like seriously.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Like you can ask him to play so many different positions, and he'll do it to a decent level.
I think it's interesting though because they don't have one person that just plays right wing every week. It's either you have Foden there or you have Bernardo there. Now, could Cole Palmer have been there this season? He would have been another one in the rotation because it's still rotation at this point.
He would have had more minutes though.
He definitely would have had more minutes, but I think the issue was he wanted more minutes. Not in terms of like a first team place now, but he wanted more minutes. Actually, he wanted to go on loan. That was what it was. So they said, no, you're not going on loan. I think we must have said this in an episode before.
I think it was either we sell you or you stay.
Yeah, that was what it was. And it was like, I'm not getting into this team, so I don't want to stay. But obviously, I would have loved to stay if you'd have let me go on loan or something like that. But Cole is too big for a loan. I think that's not just from the standpoint of City getting bank for the investment they've put into Cole's kind of development, but even more for Cole as a footballer. Like he's worth more than he's just gotten to the England squad now, the senior squad. Is that his first?
Nah, he made I think he made a couple of appearances at the end of last year.
Okay.
I think he was in the last. Okay. He was in the last camp as well.
Okay.
But yeah, getting into the England squad as well has a very good chance of going to Germany.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, for him on a personal note, like of course Chelsea aren't doing the best, but for him on a personal note, like the move couldn't have gone any better.
Exactly.
Like it actually couldn't have gone any better.
Really well.
So speaking on Man City, obviously, he Fuego's Man City, Arsenal, and we our title showdown, if you want to call it that, is coming on the 31st of March at the Etihad. So we beat City in the Community Shield. We beat City at the Emirates in the Premier League. And so this is the third game. It could be, actually just touching on the Champions League draw, there could be two more games because if we win our Champions League quarterfinals, we'll be facing each other in the semi-final of the Champions League. But coming back to the Premier League game coming up, I mean, doesn't get any bigger than this, does it?
No, I think it's similar to the City Liverpool game we had last weekend that we said the winner of that match would probably win the title and the loser would probably fall away. Obviously, nobody won, which makes the title still very much open, but it's currently in Arsenal's favor. I think it's a similar situation this time that whoever wins probably is going to win the league, and whoever loses is definitely going to fall away at this point.
Yeah, I won't lie. I think it's Liverpool are just probably in the situation that we were in terms
Where
of like,
a draw
they're
is the
praying for a
best
draw.
is the best
Praying for a
outcome
draw.
for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because I think a win for Arsenal would just give them a little bit of breathing room going into a very busy April for everyone.
Yeah.
But if City were to win, obviously it still doesn't put them ahead of Liverpool. I don't think it puts them ahead of Liverpool.
Well, I mean,
but
Liverpool played before us.
it puts pressure on them anyway.
So Liverpool played with, so obviously it's a big Sunday. Liverpool are playing Brighton and then we're playing. But like even what's it called? Going back to obviously Arsenal in that situation, like even me speaking of an Arsenal fan, it's a massive game for like the mentals of the team. Like the thing, I think we can agree that tactically underlying numbers like Arsenal leading the table, the XG table by a handsome margin. I think we can agree that Arsenal have been the best team in the Premier League this season. And if you even go back to last season, like if you go through the overall kind of like performances, you could say that Arsenal have arguably been the best team in the Premier League for like nearly 2 seasons now. But it's a thing of, can Arsenal actually get it done in the critical moments in April, in May? We failed the test woefully last season, at your guys' benefit, but can we get over the line? And I feel like a result at Man City, a win at Man City, could be that type of thing that just gives the players the confidence and the belief to finish the job.
Yeah, it will kind of be like a second wind if you want to look at it that way. Where, look, if we can do it against City, we can do it against anyone, and we can bring it home literally. But yeah, that will be an interesting one to see. Again, not only would influence obviously Arsenal's next few games, because I think it would give them a massive boost even in the Champions League to think that we can take on Bayern. But on the flip side as well would be a similar thing for City in terms of it will give them that confidence boost that number 5, is it number 5? Number 4 is coming.
4 in a row, yeah.
4 in a row is coming, which obviously no team has ever done. I think I saw a clip of a podcast where it said that they have it up in the gym at City that no team has ever won the Premier League 4 years in a row. So it kind of, I think this match is going to, as you said, going to be massive for the mentality of the players, the mentality of the group as a whole, Arsenal group as a whole, City, who is going to do what this season, because obviously both are still in the running for the Champions League and both are still very much in the running for the league. But then obviously that will change massively depending on how the 31st goes, and then maybe the first 2 weeks in April, they're going to say a lot for the league anyway.
Yeah, April is going to be big. I won't lie. Liverpool will probably be hoping we both advance in the Champions League and play each other, because like, say now, like, we have to play each other at the Emirates, then we've another big high pressure title running game at the weekend, and then we have to play each other again the next week.
In like May
that
or
week
something
would
like that.
take so much out of both of our teams.
Definitely. It's looking like a very interesting run in respect of just everything going on, because there's still a lot going on.
Honestly, I don't think, man, it'll be a high accomplishment if either of us were to win the Champions League, because I'm looking at the competition we both have in the Champions League left. Obviously, you guys have Real Madrid. Real Madrid are like 10 points clear in La Liga. We have Bayern. I mean, Bayern are like 10 points behind. Like, you could say that they're going to be chasing to try and, but like, it's not the same intensity as being 1 point separated.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then we also have like Atletico. Atletico are not really battling for anything serious in La Liga. PSG probably going to win the league. I haven't checked the French league table in God knows how many weeks. Then you have Dortmund again, not really fighting for anything crazy like high intensity in um in Germany. And then who else? Who's the last team?
Barcelona.
Barcelona. It's exactly like
Same thing.
they're about 10 points behind Real Madrid. Just the opposite. So in terms of like the intensity of what each team has going on back at home, that's
no
where
teams like City and
that's where Man City and Arsenal are a big disadvantage in Europe, because especially this April now, every game is crucial, and that's where probably Man City have the biggest advantage in terms of like you guys have the most players that are reliable to put in a shift at any given point in time. Even looking at Arsenal, we are waiting for players to like prove themselves this season. Partey has played like 5 games this season. Zinchenko has been very poor. Jesus has been injured all season. Tomiyasu has basically been injured all season. Vieira has been injured for a good chunk of the season. These are players that we're waiting for, that we're hoping that if we have to do some rotation, can put in a shift. You guys have Grealish can put in a shift for Doku. Who else is what's his name? Alvarez can come in for Haaland. Even your goalkeeper, your reserve goalkeeper is pretty solid as
That's
well.
actually something to also note, that Ederson's not fit at the moment. I'm not 100% sure how serious it is, but obviously, whenever he went in to challenge Nunez and gave away that penalty last week,
Yeah.
he had to come off for. I was about to say Claudio Bravo. I don't know where that came from.
Ortega.
Stefan Ortega. Ortega, obviously, as you said, is a very capable goalkeeper on his own. He's similar to, similar but different. But in terms of what I said earlier about Kelleher not seeming out of place as like a second goalkeeper to Alisson, and then Liverpool are kind of, everything is going wrong. So Stefan Ortega starts for 60 or 70% of the Premier League.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But at the same time, Stefan Ortega has never done this running situation. Like, he's never done April with the Champions League, FA Cup, and Premier League all still very much in touching distance. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to City in that regard, because I don't think Ederson is going to be back for the Arsenal game.
Is that what's going on in your camp?
I'm gonna have to double check and see if Pepper said anything on his injury now. But last that I checked, he's not fit. He obviously he didn't play
The weekend.
on Saturday. But yeah, again, just will be very interesting to see how things pan out with that in mind as well.
I mean, tactically, I'm looking at the teams. I feel like a key kind of what's the word? A key advantage for us could be the fitness of Martinelli, because he brings kind of pure speed, etc. But I think the two biggest battles on the pitch are going to be obviously Haaland versus our centre backs. Like in every single game, Haaland gives the centre backs a tough time. We've been able to shut him down so far this season, but obviously doing it away is a completely different situation. And then probably the biggest battle of the game is going to be obviously Declan Rice versus Rodri. The two, I think it's not even close, the two best central defensive midfielders in the world right now. That I think the winner of that individual battle, their team will more than likely win the game.
Yeah, they're both the heartbeat of their team as well. Like, realistically, both teams are very different when they don't have Rice or Rodri in there. Look, I'm there 100% in terms of watching the match. It's gonna be
It's gonna be intense, man.
that. But the thing is, I just hope it's not like, was it the Etihad last year, or I don't remember, it was the Etihad or the Emirates last year, where it seemed like just this boring chess match where both were just not really doing anything.
It was like that at the Emirates for quite a while, but then you just pulled away at the end. But it was a very tough game. The game at the Etihad last year was just, that's not a good memory for me. Like, we were out on our feet. Like,
What was the score of that one?
4-1. It's like
Oh,
it was
okay.
like you guys smelled blood, man. Like I won't lie, we were actually food. Like mentally, physically, we were actually toast, man. Like when I seen Kevin De Bruyne just run straight through our midfield, like wasn't that after like 5 minutes? Just put it past Ramsdale. I said, damn. So it's not easy. But yeah, going back to the game, I mean, obviously I'm gonna back my team. Fuego's gonna back City, but I can't predict this, man. Like it's gonna be, could be the game of the season.
Mm.
You know,
What's I gonna say? One other thing. Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne is not currently not fit, but apparently it's a minor groin injury.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know whether it's an actual thing
it's internationals. You guys do that all the time.
because I'm kind of confused because he obviously didn't play on Saturday. So I'm like, is this a serious thing where Belgium are not taking him because they want him to rest at City and City just want him to rest here? Or is it a thing of City are not letting him go because they need him for Arsenal?
I think it's. I mean, he Kevin De Bruyne obviously has been battling with injuries, so he probably does have something, but it's probably more like, okay, since he has something, because like at this point of the season, you'd say like 70% of the players have
Are
something,
feeling something.
have
Yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah.
but they're probably just like, okay, normally you could play with this something, but we need you for the running, so we're just gonna keep you at home. I feel it's the same for Gabriel at us because Gabriel, our
He's
centre
not
back,
going
is
to.
not going to Brazil as well.
Okay.
They announced it today, and Nunes is not going to Uruguay. Liverpool announced it today.
But see, the thing for me is that if your last match was, say, look at Liverpool. If your last match was yesterday, Sunday the 17th of March, and your next match isn't until Sunday the 31st of March, these guys are not getting any like football other than their daily training type thing until that match. Is it not better for them to go Uruguay and maybe tell them to limit his minutes to maybe half an hour for both games or something like that? I feel like that's better for a player who is not injured that can't play, but maybe okay, I'm feeling something. You're gonna have to play with that through April anyway.
I hear that, but at the same time, you have to look at that's a risk in itself. They're going to be more tired coming back after travel, and then you also have to look at it from the point of view where, like, obviously, you know a lot of these games, like even for example, I think the Brazil games are just friendlies. I think
Yeah,
they're, you know,
they are.
I think they're just friendlies.
No, I don't think anyone's playing any like competition because like the
Yeah, I don't
European
think that's
teams are playing friendlies as
Yeah, I
well.
don't think there's anything like crazy. I think we were meant to be playing Argentina, no, Nigeria, but I think that got
Yeah,
cancelled.
I don't remember what it was replaced with for them or for us or whatever. I know Ireland are playing Belgium this week. Someone was just sending to football GC that Evan Ferguson was in Fusion last night. I was like, oh, that's funny. But then I thought, okay, yeah, because he's in the Ireland squad, he's home,
Yeah,
so of course he's allowed to go Fusion.
at this, but coming back to the question, like at this point of the season, unless you're coming back from a crazy injury, the players don't need to play to like build up their fitness.
I
Their,
guess so.
their
Yeah,
fitness is already there.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
even at this stage of the season, probably a rest is even better for them.
Better than going to
Yeah,
play.
but I understand that as well. Like it's kind of like, yeah, say maybe if they're coming back from like a long injury, yeah, go get your minutes up. But like, yeah, I say it's better for them to just get that rest because God knows in April they're not going to get that rest
At all.
Yeah,
No,
you,
at
you
all.
know. So
Yeah. I think it's been a good episode. It's been longer than I expected it to be anyway, but it's been good. But I think we'll wrap it up there. Obviously, by the time this is coming out, we're probably going to be a few days to the City Arsenal match, and then obviously rolling into Easter and rolling into April and the busy kind of period for both Arsenal, City, and Liverpool as well, actually, because of the Europa League. But yeah, if you made it this far, well done. We appreciate you, everybody who obviously listened. We appreciate you guys as well. Everyone who's sharing, appreciate you guys. You can find the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere. The link tree will also be linked where you can find where the podcast is everywhere, basically. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, for listening. I'll let Tans take us out.
yeah, once again, thank you guys for the support as always. Thank you guys for the love. Fuego already gave all the details you need to find this podcast wherever you want to watch it. Yeah, thank you guys for listening, especially if you got this far. Once again, thank you if you got this far. And yeah, God bless, and see you in the next episode.